Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, November 3rd, November 15th release team meeting for release 123. This is week 13 of the release cycle. I do want to let everyone know that this meeting is recorded and uploaded to YouTube. And we also abide to the CNCF Code of Conduct, which means to just to be kind and to be excellent to each other. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. In the first thing off in the chat, there is a link to the meeting notes. So just asking folks to just please sign in there. And I am going to share my screen. And we'll start the weekly burndown. So this is the first week of Monday to Friday daily burn down meetings, and we do this because since as we're getting really close, 3 weeks into the release date of 123, so we tend to have a lot more outstanding issues that come up and pull requests that come up, or deadlines that come up. So we're starting tomorrow as the first major deadline, or second major deadline. So we do like to have these daily burn down meetings to address those issues. I'm going to start off with the open discussion as usual. The big thing deadline is tomorrow. It's code freeze starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time. There is a pull request to K-test infra, which actually starts code freeze. So when it's already made, thank you, Nabrin, for making this pull request. And at 6 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, we will release the hold on this once it's been approved to go ahead and start code freeze. So what that means that only pull requests that have the 123 milestone that are approved and have the approved and LGTM labels can merge into the KK repo. For those who are new, if you are not familiar with the code freeze and test freeze deadline, code freeze is tomorrow. Test freeze is next week. We're also cutting beta, the first and only beta release as well. So starting tomorrow at after 6 p.m. Pacific, only PRs with the approved and LGTM and that have the appropriate 123 milestone can merge into KK master. Next week in test freeze, the release managers they're going to cut a release -123 branch. And so if any exceptions that get merged into KK master will have to be cherry picked into the release -123 branch. That's a little more background info on that. Any comments or questions about code freeze? All right, next week, once the release 123 branch is created, we'll need another pull request to enable code freeze to that branch. And I'll put an example pull request from 120 on there. All right, next topic is we had an exception request that came in last Friday afternoon, came from SIG Storage. It was for one KEP, but there are 4 related enhancement issues with that KEP, and it's the CSI migration KEP. They don't change phases, so all of these enhancements issues, they stay in beta. They just change the default behavior. So instead of default off, there'll be default on for 123. So we'll need a doc change just to update the feature gates doc. Just for default behavior to set to true. So it's for 4 related enhancements issues. Each of them has 1 KK PR, which is the code related pull request. One of them is merged, so hopefully the 3 others will be approved by 6 p.m. Tomorrow. Any comments or questions on the exception request? All right. Let's move on to the updates, the team updates, starting off with enhancements with Kevin.
Hey, yeah, not much here. We've been communicating with all of the enhancements owners, and we'll kind of just see how things shake out tomorrow after code freeze.
Okay, cool. I did put in the release enhancements Slack channel. So I'm going to send an email out right after this meeting the code freeze warning. Noticed that one last week, but it never hurts to over communicate on this. So in this, I also want to add in some numbers associated with that. If you could take a look at the release enhancement Slack channel just to confirm the at-risk numbers and the track numbers. For the track numbers, I added in the 4 exceptions. So instead of 33, I put in the email, put 37 on it. So please take a look. All right.
Will do.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for enhancements and Kevin? All right, there's still a lot of enhancements with their at risk, so we should hopefully a good number of them will be able to get their KKPRs in. All right, next is CI Signal with Regula.
Hi, we're still yellow. So in the master blocking, we have no failings. It's just no changes from the last report, 6 flaky and 12 passing. In master informing, we had 2 flaky tests that turned fail today, so we are tracking them. And we have 9 flaky and 10 passing. We also have a new project board where we are tracking, where we are discussing improvements for the new CI Signal report tooling. So if you have any feedback, please put your suggestions there. Thanks.
Yeah, I will add in my 2 cents on the new project board. Thank you very much. I did see, and Leo did put in the chatted on the Slack channel that there was one job failing this very early this morning, but it went back to flaky. So hopefully that stays not failing or flaky. All right, any comments or questions for CI Signal? All right, next is bug triage with Christoph.
Sorry, I'm here, my Jyoti. I was just distracted. So things are good, no problems there. I see there are like 6 important soon issues and 3 burn soon PRs. They're all pretty recent in age, so there's action there. So the one thing I have to figure is how frequently we should pursue them because they are tagged as important soon. I'll be talking with Christoph on that one, but apart from that, we are all good there.
All right, thank you very much, GOT, for that update. All right, any comments or questions for bug triage? All right, next up is docs with Chris.
Yeah, not much change since previous meeting. We're tracking 56 enhancements, 48 need docs. You can see 9 none required, 9 drafts, 7 ready for review, and 5 merged. The big number is that there are 27 KEPs that are still listed as needing docs, but for which there's no docs placeholder, and that has to be done by the 18th, which is 3 days. So that's why we're yellow. Otherwise, the integration branch is healthy and we're just moving along.
Cool. Thank you. Also, big thank you to Jesse, the docs lead, who pointed out one of the KEPs might need an exception request. So that was from Friday. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Chris, for the update. Thank you, docs. All right, any comments or questions for docs? I will add in on the email, as usual, as we've done in past emails about the docs placeholder PR deadline. I know that's coming up in 3 days, so hopefully folks will start creating more docs placeholder PR for that. I know we had a slow increase last week, so hopefully we'll get quite a bit more this week. And do want to make a note too, we do have a number of at-risk enhancements, so that might be associated with that as well. All right, next up is release notes with Lucas.
Hello, I've issued the pull request for Alpha 4. Some commits were dropped due to my own struggles with GitHub's secondary rate limit, but those will be addressed shortly. Other than that, nothing to report.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. I'll take a look at the pull request for Alpha 4. beta 0 is coming out tomorrow, so we'll be good to get this approved and merged as soon as we can after appropriate reviews. All right, any comments or questions for release notes or Lucas?
How are we doing with major themes? I know we were kind of like trying to get more feedback.
I was actually going to address that a second, or on my update for
okay.
Release themes too. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's go on with comms and Mickey.
Hey folks, so we're waiting on blog drafts to come in right now. I listed the ones that we do not currently have drafts for. So that's pod security admission, volume popular data source, always on our PV reclaim policy, object storage API, and auto delete stateful set PVCs. We reached out to the owners from each team. So y'all should know who you are. We're trying to get every blog in by a week from Tuesday. That's the deadline, which is November 23rd. Also keep in mind that Thanksgiving week is next week. So please do not send them in all that day if you can avoid it. We have 2 completed blog drafts. If you're looking for help or sort of guidance on creating your blog, you can reference the 2 of those there. We're also working on the order of publishing dates right now. So we're ranking the blogs to figure out which order to release them in. And then finally, we're working on locking down a webinar date. So I was actually hoping that, Ray, if you had any input, which would you prefer, January 5th or 12th?
I'm fine with both those dates. I'll talk to Xander because he also needs to be free on one of those dates as well. So I'll leave it to Xander on which day works the best for
Okay.
Xander. So
sounds good, and that's it from our end.
All right, cool. Thank you for the update. I know the folks who raised their hands and volunteered to write the pod security mission blog, so I'll reach out to them and make sure that they get a draft PR in so we can start with that. So any comments or questions?
It's great to see 2 completed drafts already in. I think my cycle, we were coming in hot. So y'all should be feeling a little good about the situation.
Yeah, we actually have a 122 blog that is in the middle of being reviewed that we've changed into just a regular blog instead of being a feature blog because it's been several months already since 122 was released. Okay, so I do have a question about the release blog itself. I know we tend to start writing that draft out. I think the deadline is kind of rough deadline. It's around Thanksgiving week as well. Is that the deadline that we start to write the blog? Asking folks like Joseph, or who's been a comms lead in the past, or anyone else who's been in the comms role.
Jesse, is this something you know?
That could be me, but I just had to step away for a FedEx, so I'm back. So what did I miss?
Oh, just asked if when do we typically start to write the actual release blog?
Yeah, good question. We, and Rajal is here too. We started this kind of around now, actually,
okay.
as the themes were coming together, as we had an idea of what was landing. At this point, if things change, they're not going to be major changes. So you can certainly get started now. Especially working as a team, it can help just to have, a week or so just to kind of get into the flow of stuff. We started on HackMD too, so just so that people could kind of come and go. But right about now is a good time.
Okay. And I know that things kind of tend to lead or work with each other like that, like the feature blogs could be part of the could be major themes, or major themes could be feature blogs, and vice versa, and they could also be highlighted in the release blog as well, so they'll kind of work together.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of the same. I started it probably about 3 weeks before the release because everything was kind of pretty solidified. And then the only thing that did come up, which I think now we're kind of in front of, was when we had some not surprise, but a deprecation was called out. And then we were in kind of like oh shoot, we got to like address this. But yeah, I think you're right now is a great time to start. Just start early, and HackMD is a great way to do it. So you could just all have a chance to add something in there or help each other.
Yeah, without any deprecations in this release, we didn't get to flex that new idea of writing the mid-cycle deprecations and removals blog, but that would definitely throw a wrinkle in stuff. So yeah, good call.
There is actually one. It's a flex volume deprecations, like the plugin. I don't know how to go about that since it's it doesn't have its own enhancement issue. It's
Right.
part of the CSI migration cup. And so it's not officially being tracked because it's part of like this umbrella cap. So do we write a blog about one? Oh, but there is actually the feature blog. It's going to be about the migrations of the CSI migrations as well, I believe. I thought I saw something about that. I'll have to, oh, here we go. In-store storage plugin to CSI migrations. So this pretty much covers the flex volume deprecation and other CSI increased CSI drivers as well. So don't know, do we need a deprecation blog if one of the feature blogs kind of covers it?
Could be a way to, I wouldn't go, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
I was just gonna say, I don't think so. But I think you were about to say the same thing.
Kind of sort of, or if you do reference it, just highlight, hey, you got a blog coming that people may be interested in reading. So you start kind of marketing out the
I think
other.
that for sure goes in the release blog.
Yeah.
You know, call it out, say there's a deprecation, say there's a blog coming. That might actually be a feature blog that you want to publish pretty early. So you can reference it.
Ray, would you mind adding a note about that?
Yeah, I'll add a note about that. Let me see here. All right. Thank you very much for all the feedback. Any other comments or questions for comms? Next up is release branch management with Veronica.
Hello. Well, we're yellow. Again, just following a CI signal. We're cutting a beta release. I think that all the updates that I have for you today have been mentioned earlier by someone, but it's worth mentioning them again in case you have any questions. So yeah, we're cutting a beta release on November 17th. So we're being extra careful this week with the board. And yeah, what else? There are 2 failing issues in master informing, as was previously informed by CI signal, but they're being dealt with currently, just keeping an eye on them. And also, as Ray mentioned, Navarone created the branch restriction PR for code freeze, ready for tomorrow. And I think that's it for now. I don't know if you have any questions.
All right, thank you for that updates. Any comments or questions? All right, moving on. An update from Jeremy. Okay, yeah, it's a conflict, but as Jeremy might say, please add in any retro or topics for the retro that's post-release. That'll be the week after the 123 release. So please add that. We'll continue with that retro. We had our first one mid-cycle. So now we can address some anything that's come up since then. All right, then my updates, we will send out a code freeze warning email that's going to go out within the next hour or so. So that with that, we'll just warn, we'll give a more of a summary of how many enhancements are on track, how many are at risk as well. Then we'll also add in bold the docs placeholder PR deadline that's coming in 2 days after code freeze. And We'll also mention that only that for code freeze, your KK or your code PR has to be approved by 6 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. We don't say merge anymore because sometimes it could take a while for the PR to merge. And so we say approved by 6 p.m. tomorrow. All right, next topic is the major themes or release themes. We're still kind of light on that. And I think we just need to start pinging folks who have opted in for feature blogs. If they could write a short 2 or 3 sentence paragraph about the feature, and they will make it into one of the major themes. And then we'll also have a better outlook after code freeze as well, and what enhancements have made code freeze. So we'll look to see if any enhancements that I remember the lead shadows and myself, we had a little exercise and we kind of identified what we thought what would make good major themes, and we could see if those have made code freeze, and we could reach out again to those enhancement owners. So, all right, do want to go over some deadlines, some milestones. Code freeze starts tomorrow. It starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, as I mentioned. The next day is the 123.0-beta.0 is cut, and that's the one and only beta release for 123. Then 2 days from now, we have the docs placeholder PR deadline. We're still pretty light on that, but we also have a good number of at-risk enhancements, so that will probably correlate with that. The next Tuesday, which is a holiday week for a lot of folks, especially here in the US, it's US Thanksgiving. So we have quite a few deadlines on that Tuesday. Test freeze is also when RC0 is cut and when the release 123 branch is cut as well. And the release 123 jobs are created as well. So quite a few things on that day. Also, the docs should be ready for review on that Tuesday, because by that time we only have 2 weeks until the release, and we have to merge those docs into the Dev 123 branch for the documentation website. Then we start the final notes of the release, final draft of the release notes as well, and also with the release blog, we start reviewing the release blog as well. And then the Thursday of next week is US Thanksgiving, which is a pretty big holiday for us folks in the US. So I will cancel that Thursday meeting, but I'll probably keep the Friday. We'll keep the Friday meeting after US Thanksgiving. A lot of folks in the US tend to have that day off, but that Friday meeting is also the EU APAC friendly meeting. So we'll most likely cancel this meeting on Thursday, November 25th. Then we'll just run it async. You could just add in if any issues come up, just bring it up to Slack channels, and I'll be attentive for sure. All right, that's it for me. Any comments or questions? All right, last thing, I did ping SIG Scalability for their updates. It each takes a day to get it in. I've also pinged them that code freeze is coming up and test freeze is coming up as well. And just to ping me if there's any changes to those updates. All right, so I'm gonna stop my screen share and stop recording. Thank you very much.